Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we're talking about Goran Dragic apparently was guaranteed 20 to 25 minutes off the bench. We'll also be talking about what we think the ideal bench rotation is. And lastly, we'll go into the mailbag answering your questions in voicemails and text. We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, a.k.a. Big Yellow, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Hayes, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, and we're going to jump right into it. We got to talk about it. So apparently Goran Dragic, and this is why, you know me, bro, you know when things like this come out, I do my research, right?
Yeah.
So apparently this was originally translated from the original interview was translated from a foreign language in which he talked about that he wanted to play more minutes and that he would like to have played more minutes. The Dallas Mavericks didn't offer him that. He would like to have played 20 to 25 minutes. And it seems like there's no actual quote where Goran Dragic said that the Bulls guaranteed him 20 to 25 minutes. That was the writer who interpreted his quote to then go on to say, well, that must mean that the Bulls did guarantee him 20 to 25 minutes. This is why you got to do your research, people, because people run with headlines. And literally, this is on ESPN now, bro. Like, it's wild, bro.
You talk about that network that got caught up by Ball Sack Sports multiple times. Can we say that on here? Can we say that on?
I think we're safe with that.
I think
reporting it, right?
Yeah, we're reporting. But no, I feel like exactly like you said, right? Somebody translated it and the world ran with it. And like I did my video over on the Breeze and I kind of structured it as Dragic wants to play 20 to 25 minutes. And how do the Bulls get him that? I think that's the real question there. But if we're in the market of promising people minutes as a team, it just makes no sense, right? Because you have to try and figure out where he's going to get those minutes. You have to figure out, and unless there's a deeper thing that goes into it, and that's the only thing that I can think that where there might have been a promise put in place. Could there be a situation where the Bulls are fully expecting either Kobe White to be moved or Lonzo Ball to be gone? I think those are the only two pieces that Dragic is taking minutes from, where you feel like Goran Dragic is going to end up getting that 20 to 25 minutes. I don't know.
Listen, there's not there, and this is why you have to be rational. You know, people have ran with it and everything. There is not a realistic world in which all the Bulls are healthy that Goran Dragic is getting 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just not happening, right? It's not happening. When you look at like what it would take for that would have to mean that Alex Caruso is only at that point getting about 15 minutes per game.
Right.
There's no world in which Goran Dragic at this stage of his career is getting more minutes per game than Alex Caruso or Ayo Dosunmu for that matter.
Yeah. No, and that's what it comes down to, right? Like it's about where are you going to find him the minutes? Who's he taking those minutes away from? Like I said, I think maybe you can make a case for Kobe White. Maybe it right. But like even that, right? Like we know how Billy Donovan is. We know how Billy Donovan has been with this team. He's going to give his guys opportunities to prove that they shouldn't be in the lineup. Lauri Markkanen had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity until he went to the bench. And then he came back from that side and it still was like, hey, still throw him out there. Maybe he's going to get it together, right? Like that's where you have to look and say, he's going to give Kobe his opportunity. So unless you feel Lonzo's missing a big chunk of this season, I don't see where Goran Dragic is getting 20 to 25 minutes. I don't even see, like, is there any chance? Now, here's the only way maybe, right? Like, is there any chance in the world that he plays outside either the point guard or shooting guard position? Is there a small ball lineup where you're putting a 6'4" dude at your small forward? Like, that's the only way I could think that there's possibly a chance that he gets that level of minutes, right? Because then maybe he's playing 5 to 7 minutes at each position.
No. Listen, it's not happening, bro. It's not happening.
Yeah.
That is 6 man of the year type minutes. And by the way, random trivia I got for you real quick. Random trivia for everyone.
Let's do
it. There have been 41 Six Men of the Year since the award was a thing. What position do you think won the most Six Man of the Year awards?
What position won the most Six Man of the Year awards? I would say shooting guard.
You're correct. How many of those do you think?
I would say you've probably had, how long has it been an award?
41 years.
41 years. I would say probably 36 of those have been shooting guards, because I mean, like, that's always the position that you're bringing first off the bench, right? Somebody to just put the ball up.
26. Close. 26.
I was off by 10.
26 of those were shooting guards, which is wild, bro, to think that one position has dominated the Six Man of the Year award that many times. But to get back to that, like, Goran Dragic isn't going to be the six. Listen, shout out if Goran Dragic earns to the point where he's getting 20 plus minutes off the bench. Shout out to him for having a resurgence in his career. We'll have two players over 30 that have resurgences in their career back-to-back seasons at that point in time.
That would be, I think, the more wild. What's more likely to happen, right? Here's the question now. You got to ask, what's more likely to happen? Goran Dragic wins Sixth Man of the Year, or he averages 25 minutes a game?
Oh, Jesus. I say it's more likely
for him. Sixth Man of the Year, you're talking about somebody that's playing 30 to 32 minutes a game.
Yeah, basically.
Caruso's ramping himself up to play 30 plus minutes.
Yeah, there's no way Goran Dragic is playing over 20 minutes per game. It's not happening. It's not feasible, bro. It's not going to happen. That's just and the fact that so many people were concerned about, like, there's so many think pieces now right out on there about it. Oh, what does this mean? This means a Kobe White trade is imminent. Does this mean that Lonzo isn't going to be healthy? What does this mean for Alex Caruso? Is he not going to, like, so many think pieces I've seen so far. Guess what, people? Do your research. And I get it, right? At some point, it's because I do use that do your research line a lot, but at some point, when you see so many headlines, it's natural just to think that it's true, right?
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to dig deep to find the foreign article that then translated to say, oh, no, this is what actually was said. Like, you shouldn't have to do. We got to have more integrity in the way that we cover sports, fam.
I think the interesting thing is, right, like, it's about, and it's the reason why I structured my video the way I did, because it's about him wanting to play 25 minutes a game versus what's actually going to happen, right? I can see Goran Dragic playing 12 to 15 minutes a game.
For sure.
I can see that being his role, right? You come in, you're a spot-up shooter, you've got that opportunity. I could definitely see that being what Goran Dragic comes in here and does. I don't see Goran Dragic finding a role where he all of a sudden takes over for people who are already established in this system. And I think that's where people have kind of taken it too far, right? Because the instant thing that people are saying is Kobe White's definitely going, right? You're making definites off of what somebody wants to happen.
It don't, everybody, like, every Bulls fan, and I love it, right? And I understand it to a degree. No matter what happens, every Bulls fan things to go to is, oh, this means Kobe White's immediately getting traded.
Hey, no matter what,
Kobe
White's getting traded.
Yeah.
And Kobe White is the one thing that continues to be on the Chicago Bulls.
Kobe's going to post a video of him being at Portillo's, and people are going to be like, oh, he's getting his last Portillo's because he knows he's leaving the city. Like, that's what people would take it. It's like, come on, fam. All right, another trivia before we get out of the segment. How many former Six Men of the Year have gone on to go into the Basketball Hall of Fame?
How many former Six Men of the Year have gone on to go into the Basketball Hall of Fame?
Yep.
Let me go 16 of the 41.
Only, hold on, let me recount this. 5. That's it.
I was way too high.
We got Bobby Jones, so I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, no, I do know who, but I had to think. Well, yeah, I know who Bobby Jones is. Yeah, I had to think. Brain freeze. Kevin McHale, Bill Walton, Tony Kukoc, and Manu Ginobili. That's it.
Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense because Lou Will's still playing. I'm like, well, Lou Will ain't gonna get in the Hall of Fame anyway. I thought Jay Crow maybe might make it, but probably not.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna
make
it.
Jay Crow's got how many though? He's got
how many Six Men of the Year?
Does Jay Crow have 4?
He has 3.
He has 3, and Lou Will has 3 as well.
Yeah, he has 3.
So probably not. Probably not. Neither of them probably get it. All right, cool. All right, man.
Yeah. John Starks? You think John Starks Hall of Fame worthy?
For what? Dunking on Jordan one time?
Oh, that's true. That's true. But that's it for the first segment, man. We gotta before we get into the next segment, we gotta talk to you guys about Built Bar. Come on, man. You already know what it is. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk, Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built Bar have given coconut brownie chunk the Puffs treatment that Pat still has not gotten. But that's right. The coconut brownie chunk Built Bar flavor you love is deliciously chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. But stop drooling and listen. They're good for you, low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and all delicious. Coconut brownie chuck puffs are only here for a limited time. Go to built.com right now to make sure you don't miss out. They're going fast because they taste amazing. All Built bars made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. The best part about Built Bar Puffs, of course, they taste amazing, but you can enjoy them guilt-free because they are actually good for you. They are near perfect treat, perfect for when you got a craving, perfect when you need to satisfy your sweet tooth, and when you need a quick, healthy snack. They're an excellent source of protein. Delicious coconut, rich, sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow goodness. Stop fantasizing. Get to Built.com to order your box of coconut brownie chunk puffs right now. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. All right, Pat. So it's all this talk about Goran Dragic's minutes, who's going, who's leaving, all this. Next up, we're going to talk about what do we think the perfect bench rotation is for the Chicago Bulls. Now, this is betting on all health, right? And we don't know when we're going to get Lonzo fully healthy, but for the nature of this conversation, for those who want to know, we're talking about this from the standpoint of full health on the roster. What do you think is the perfect bench rotation? Who's your first person off the bench?
Ayo Dosunmu.
Fair.
Ayo Dosunmu. I think he's, especially seeing as how, right, like even given health, right, you're probably, I still want to believe, right, that you're probably going to try and bring Lonzo along slower. So you're going to give him shorter stints on the floor and maybe more time in the fourth quarter where you'd rather have him than in the first quarter, right? So I think that Ayo Dosunmu is going to be probably your first. For me, he'd be my first person off of the bench because he's still giving you that defensive presence. He's still giving you that defensive ability. He's still, and I think this season, right, we're going to see Ayo doing a lot more to score the basketball as well, and I think that plays a part into it. So for me, my first person off of the bench and into the rotation is going to be Ayo Dosunmu.
I agree with that 100%. I think at this point, last year it was clearly going. I clearly would have said Alex Caruso, and I still think Alex Caruso is still going to average tons of minutes for this team.
He's going to be 30 plus minutes, probably.
Yeah. If he stay healthy, health, all that. Yeah, so I look at it like this: Ayo Dosunmu offers so much as far as defense, offense, and what he can be, that he has to kind of be, in my opinion, your first guard off the bench. It's not a disrespect to Alex Caruso, who's still going to get his minutes, but I'm just bringing Ayo Dosunmu off the bench first. We'll see how that ends up working. But as far as the full rotation, I'm looking at Ayo, Caruso, of course, who've played a lot together. At this point, I think I'm bringing in Javonte instead of Kobe White coming off the bench.
Not giving him the shot at all.
Who?
Kobe.
No, this is what I think at this point. The Bulls are probably going to go heavy. Buy into what you do. The defense. Kobe's going to get about 12 minutes to start the season off the bench,
right?
I think, and give a chance to be consistent and see what he can do. But when you look at, like, if Ayo takes this leap offensively, like I think he will, I think you're going to need Javonte's defense there rather than more Kobe offense from Kobe.
It's tough, right? Because, right, even if Ayo takes this step, I don't know if Ayo's ever going to be a crazy 3-point shooter, and I think you still need more off of the bench, right? So I think that still opens up a route for Kobe White. I would probably go Ayo. I would go Caruso second for sure, right? Because he's going to come in. It might be a swap at the same time, even in that situation, right? Because a lot of times Billy will do that where he brings in Caruso to impact on the defense as well. And then I would say my third person off of the bench probably would be Kobe White, because I think you're getting to the point where you're going to have to figure out where you're getting some offense on that team. If you, right, like we always talk about like our dream defensive lineup coming off of the bench where we got all of AK's guys, right? The versatile dudes with the long arms. But then it's like, all right, who's shooting? So I think even then, right, like that's to me, that's the one space where we possibly could see Goran Dragic find his niche, or even a Justin Lewis possibly even find his niche, because I believe that out of those guys right there, right, if Coby White doesn't take a step and he's not able to knock down those shots or at least find a shot, it's going to be tough to find minutes for him because he's such a defensive liability at times.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like playing Coby at the 3. Because that's what you would be doing, though. Like playing Coby at the 3.
Well, I think you could play Alex Caruso at the 3. Right, and we saw that some last year. We saw it more so because of injury and because of issues there. But I think you could come in, you could bring in Alex Caruso at the 3, keep P. Will at the 4, and maybe you're bringing Drummond off of the bench in that situation, or maybe that's where Marco finds his way in. I see Caruso being able. I mean, listen, we also saw Caruso guard Giannis last season, so it plays
true.
into.
But the thing is that you lose some of what makes Alex Caruso special, in my opinion, when you are betting on him to play fully out of his position, because he's big, tough, and strong for a guard, and he can rotate and switch on players and do a very good job. But if you're mainly using him in that, you lose some of what makes him special.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of what his thing is, right? For the Chicago Bulls. That's his thing is, hey, I can guard anybody. Put me out there, I'm gonna get the job done versus whoever you put me up against. I think that's kind of the whole purpose of having an Alex Caruso. So I think the specialness is the fact that he can guard, weirdly enough to say, 1 through 4, right? Like we talked about Dalen Terry guarding 1 through 4. Caruso's shown us that he can guard 1 through 4. And I think that's the special part about him over kind of anything else. I mean, he also brings great court vision, great ball movement. You know what I'm saying? And we kind of thought he was going to help a little bit more with that last season. But I think his defensive prowess is his specialty.
I mean, that is his specialty, but that's why I say, like, you lose something when you're playing him so much guarding out if it's not a guard, and you have Javonte last season showed that he can stay with 4s for a long time. So putting him in at the 3, he should be able to thrive at that.
Yeah.
Now you do lose a lot offensively if you're bringing in Javonte. I can admit that, instead of Coby White, but it's like, what's going to net you the best, though?
Right? Yeah. Are you getting something, right? Because if Kobe's not doing it, you've got no offense.
Exactly.
But I mean, we'll see, man. I think the interesting thing that you got to keep in mind is that I guess we're saying our ideal lineup, but I'm also trying to go kind of based on the knowledge that we have. Like I said, we know Billy's gonna give you enough rope to hang yourself with. Pardon the expression on that, but I mean, like that's a perfect analogy of how he did Larry Markkinen, how he did Wendell Carter, how he did pretty much everybody who's been here and who's been moved out in the AK era. They all had the opportunity to show, hey, I'm not good enough to be on this team, or I'm good enough, please bring me back.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting. See, Billy Donovan has a task on his hands when he really is determining this this lineup, because it's you have a lot of players that can guard multiple positions, but what do you lose offensively? What do you like? The balance between it is going to be interesting, and maybe while we're saying that it's not, that may open the door to Dalen Terry playing more than what we think.
I think that opens the door for Dalen Terry. It could open the door for Justin Lewis. It could open the door for Goran Dragic.
Oh,
depending on
what Justin Lewis,
You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of guys. And here's the thing, right? Like the hope, your hope, right? I guess our ideal lineup, we were saying our ideal, but our ideal 4 off the bench is Marko Simonovic. You want the dude that's 240 that can run and shoot and pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to find a spot for him as well.
So what are we doing? So we're gonna do this last question, because I like presenting a question at the end of every segment. I don't know why, it just happens. Who gets more minutes this season, Dalen Terry or Marko Simonovic?
Marko Simonovic.
Okay.
Marko Simonovic will get more minutes this season because your team needed size desperately last season, and you had nobody who could provide it. And you heard AK talk about specifically the Eastern Conference, and it was the reason he went out and got Andre Drummond. He said, I looked at the Eastern Conference and there's size everywhere. And then I was like, kind of. And then you start going through and you like, even at the bottom, right? Like, oh, Clint Capella's there. Oh, Miles Turner. Oh, Sabonis was there for us last season. You know what I'm saying? Like, you start looking through even the bottom feeder teams, you're like, there is a lot of size in the Eastern Conference, kind of more so over the West. And it's a lot of that old school, like, I'm going to just beat you up, big man kind of size. So
we'll see.
We'll see. I ain't got no ad read if that's what you were waiting for. We can go straight into the next segment.
I was literally thinking, I know you ain't got no ad read, brother. I do my pre-work on the show. I know you ain't got no ad read, brother.
Hey, you see, I went straight to the button though.
Ain't that something though? Ain't that something? Ain't that some crap?
Y'all watch on the YouTube side. He went straight to the button after I said
it. oh man. Listen, I don't know what. Like, come on, somebody come get this yellow dude, man. Like, that's all I can say.
You can't call me yellow in front of my baby, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. She looking at she looking at you like, I don't know, Dad. You kind of yellow.
Yeah, you kind of yellow. Me too, man.
But last topic of the day, we're gonna go into the mailbag for you guys' voicemails. We're gonna go ahead and play this first one now.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Just wanted to make this call, man, after this first initial little off-season action. But I wanted to talk about a couple things and put a couple things in perspective. So the first thing is that, you got this new front office, and we're all, watching them and paying attention to them, but we're also learning them. We're also learning the types of moves and the types of players, the mindset, we're looking at all of that and learning all of that about them. So the one thing that we know they've been consistent with, these wings. They are, you can see that they are going after 6'7", 6'8", athletic wings, decent to high IQ that can defend, and have an upside. Guys that are willing to work hard, get in the gym, all of those things. But 6'7", 6'8", wings that can defend multiple positions. That is the one thing we can all agree on is their approach. And right now the league is I think the league is changing, and the league is no longer one of those like, I gotta have, at least one superstar. I gotta have that at least one top 5 player. If you look at the league right now, Steph Curry is definitely considered the best player on the Warriors team, but where would people rank him in the NBA right now? Realistically, if you're starting a team, are you taking, Curry over Giannis and Joker and Luka and, some of these other players that are out there, are you taking them over them? A friend of mine, a young Ja Morant that's just showing so much promise. Do you take him, over a Ja Morant? So Steph Curry is, wherever you rank him, he's not like, this, like, I'm the best in the world right now, But then when you look at who's the second best player on their team, well, now you're going to get a whole bunch of different answers. And whoever you pick as that second person, whether it's Wiggins, whether it's Clay, whether it's Poole, whether it's Draymond, none put in the top 20. So right now, and then you could do the same thing for Boston. Jason Tatum, are people going to put him in the top 10? In players right now, are there? Would you take 10 players over Jason Tatum right now?
All right, that voicemail kind of went all over the place, because at first he's saying you need a top 10 player, and then went on to list teams that you don't need a top 10 player. First up, this is what I'll say: Steph Curry's on the back end of his career, right? So you would take players. I think most people, as if you're building a team right now, you would probably take Ja Morant over him right now, because Steph is on the back end of that. Maybe depends on how you plan on making up that team.
It depends on the team that's around him.
Yeah,
it's tough for me to not take somebody who's a greatest of all time player.
This is true.
At something and say,
He's the
yeah, I
best
wouldn't
shooter
take him.
of all time.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't take him.
Yeah. I mean, but to bring that back to the Chicago Bulls roster, right? When you look at how the other teams are built, right? Having that surefire top 10 player, that player who's best at something. You look at Giannis, you do Tatum. I would say Tatum, maybe not top 10, but you put Tatum in what, top 15 in the league right now?
I would put Tatum top 15. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'd put him top 15 in the league right now.
And then the
his
Warriors
performance makes it hard in the finals, but I'm
Yeah.
also not going to forget what he did the entire season.
Exactly. Especially that run they went on in the later half of the season.
Yeah.
So, even looking at the Warriors are such a unique situation because their roster fits together so well, right? That you have Steph Curry, who's the greatest shooter of all time, but you also have Klay Thompson, who's not that far off as far as shooting from Steph Curry, right?
The only reason that there became such a gap in separation is Klay missed 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is the only thing that I'll say to his point, or to that point, right? Like, you can build nice teams.
Mm-hmm.
But you need a superstar to win.
Yeah.
The team that had the superstar in the NBA Finals this year won. The team that's had the superstar in the NBA Finals pretty much since the NBA has been a thing has won. Jordan, Olajuwon, Bryant, Shaq, same team. Duncan,
But
LeBron.
you get those teams that didn't, for example, like the Detroit Pistons that won. You get them. You get Dirk is absolutely a superstar, but even Dirk at the back end when they beat the Heat was towards the end of his career. So it was like
that's really like when you go through the last 40 years of the NBA, those are the 2 teams we really pull out every time. Yeah. The Detroit Pistons, who absolutely were a great defensive team, and they absolutely had, I'd say, star talent on their roster, but not superstar talent. And the Dallas Mavericks, maybe. I mean, even there, right? I'm like, hey, Dirk, but like he absolutely should have. The Dallas Mavericks we put in there more because they absolutely should have lost to LeBron.
Yeah. Like, I mean, considering everything that was on that team, yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing about that Dallas team that you were like, yeah, they got this.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into this next one.
Let's do it.
What's up, Hayes and Pat?
Robert!
I'm just calling in and saying that the Andre Drummond signing was good. We need rim protector. Now, AK needs to go get some shooters. Maybe sit back, wait, try to trade Kobe White for a good shooter, or listen to some trades that people want Kobe White.
All right, that's it. You cut that one short. I don't know what happened if it got disconnected or not. Here's the thing, right? And this was clearly left right after the Andre Drummond signing, before even we went and re-signed Derrick Jones Jr. But listen, none of that happened. The Bulls didn't go out and sign a shooter. They didn't trade Kobe White. Derrick Jones Jr. and Kobe are still on this team.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, right? Because like you go back on I know like AD on the Breeze. The first thing he said, I was like, what does this Bulls team look like post-draft? And it was the only thing he said was, we're one Kobe White less. And then it was like, all right, we're post-draft now. What does this team look like throughout free agency? I think we're going to move on from Kobe White. He's still here. He's still here. Like, y'all can stop trying to move on from him. At this point, we have no choice but to keep him going into the season, because clearly, and here's the weird part, right? To talk about Kobe, how many more voicemails we got? Or was that it?
One more. We got one more.
All right, I ain't gonna go too deep into it there, but here's the weird part about it, right? Are the Bulls overvaluing Kobe White? Because we heard that they're not getting back what they want.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People are saying, "Oh, his trade value is low." No, it seems like there are teams that want him, but I really do. I look at it this way. I think that the AK is looking at it and saying, "All right, listen, if we're not getting back the exact type of shooter that we need in this trade, we're just gonna keep him." Like,
which isn't a bad move. I mean, it's not like if they're offering you like an expiring deal, there's no point in trading him. No. See if he works.
Yeah. I mean, and then like, not many teams are going to absorb Coby White into their cap space. You hope that he has a start of the season like he had last season when he came. Well, not because his first 10 or 12 games were terrible. But after that, he was working back himself back from injury. But you hope at that point, even if you do ultimately hope to move him, that he starts off the season well, and then maybe his value goes up. Or at that point, you may look at him and say, "Hey, listen,
might as well.
You're a restricted free agent, brother. Meaning that we can match anything you get."
Yes, and I think that's the thing Bulls fans forget, right? Like, he's a restricted free agent at the end of the season. If Coby White plays the entire season and plays the entire season well, a sign and trade is on the table. Yeah. It's not off the table. A sign and trade, like, it's not like we're going to lose him for nothing. Like, he's going to walk away. By the way, if Coby White walks away, like, I'm not crying into my cereal in the morning. Yeah, I mean, like,
until in 2 seasons when he goes to the San Antonio Spurs and all of a sudden he's averaging 25 points per game, it's like, we let him go.
Even then, right? I think situation makes such a difference, right? I think there's absolutely a situation where Coby White leaves the Bulls and turns into a star player, and it's because he got the opportunity to become a star player. It's hard to be a star player when Zach LaVine plays your position.
This is true. And they tried him at point guard. It didn't work. But let's go ahead and get to this last voicemail for today.
What's up, Hayes? What's up, Pat?
Oh, it's Shay.
This your boy, Shay. Look, man.
Hey, what's up, Shay?
I just heard the news about us getting Andre Drummond, and I'm a little bit in the mix of it. Now, look, I'm happy that we get our rim protector and that we get our rebounding, but this seems like familiar territory to me last year with Tristan Thompson. Now, look, I know what everybody gonna say. Oh, he's way better than Tristan Thompson. And yeah, that is true. And yeah, I probably am overthinking it a little bit, but with him being a former All-Star, but let's talk about it for a second. He didn't really have a good season last season. Now, I'm not basing it off of this year, but I'm just saying, let's just say this. I'm prepared for the good, but I'm also prepared for the bad.
I respect that pause.
And then, too,
he's been watching you a lot, bro.
Andre Drummond are a dying breed in this league. Now, that's not to say he won't do good. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. Anyway, tell me what y'all think.
All right. So first, I'm saying that Andre Drummond didn't have a good season last season. Looking at that in the realm of what happened and what his role was, Andre Drummond, especially when he was on Brook, he had a solid season. I'm not saying it was great or anything, but if you average a double-double in less than 20 minutes, well, a little bit over 20 minutes per game, that's a solid season for a big man where the league is moving away from your type of big man. What do you think?
That eye test is very different.
Yeah,
I'm saying, like, I watched some of them Brooklyn games and he looked lost. I'm not gonna lie to you. He looked lost. But here's the thing, right? I'm not basing it on Andre Drummond in Brooklyn either. If we've got Andre Drummond in Brooklyn, that means Vooch is hurt and we're in trouble. So that's an entirely different thing. I'm also not basing it on what we saw in Brooklyn, because in Brooklyn, you had Kyrie Irving as your point guard, who's a score-first guy, where here you're going to have a couple of guys who actually want to give you the ball. Off of the pick and roll, you'll probably see him used more. And I don't know, like, I know there's a lot of Billy Donovan hate on here, but if you don't think Billy Donovan's not 10 times, 100 times better as a head coach than Steve Nash is, I really question what you're looking at. Because you realize, right, Steve Nash has a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and they didn't win one game. And he didn't decide to use, like, the dude that actually was playing decent and Blake Griffin until game 4. So, like, I think Billy Donovan uses him completely different. I think he ends up playing completely different here. And I think you see him more in that Philly role here where, like, I don't know if much remember, but literally go back and watch them Philly games. I was live calling them, so I can't forget it. I literally got to a point like, did Joel Embiid hurt his knee and I didn't see it? Like, did Joel Embiid twist his ankle and I didn't see it? I haven't seen Joel Embiid in actual time, like 20 minutes. And then, like, Joel Embiid would just check back in. So he's the perfect big for you. And he's going to give Vooch that much needed rest. He's going to give Vooch that time where he can kind of just, I'm saying, like, hey, listen, I got to go to the bench. We got some guys in here. Hopefully Marko Simonovic can take a step up. And I think Andre Drummond's going to be the perfect big for this team.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know about perfect. I'm not going to throw that
as a backup,
word away. But he's going to be better than Tristan Thompson. He's going to be better than Tristan. Yeah,
$3 million.
That's what I'm saying.
And you got like I get, right, like he wasn't great last season, but $3 million, and people act like this dude has been trash for his entire career. Like we're 3 years away from him, 3 years from him being a 17-12 player. And now the only reason that he's really gotten these lower numbers is because he hasn't gotten that kind of time on the court.
This is true. This is true. Well, shout out to listen, when McCord Maker is our backup center, we won't even be talking about it. We won't even worry about it. But that is it from us for today. Pat, go ahead and send us home, brother.
Hey, man, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls. We appreciate y'all for showing love. And Lil Mama said follow her at Lil Mama's. Nah, she ain't got an Instagram yet, but one day.
You can follow me at CEO Hayes, at CEO HAIZ. And thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where you can catch our very own Pat the Designer there today. By the time you guys are listening to this, where you can get your catch up on all the latest news and developments in the NBA in 30 minutes. They are available wherever you get your podcast. But this has been Locked On Bulls. For Pat the Designer, I'm Hayes. We out. Peace, y'all.
Shout out to all the work at home dads out there, man.